But PC, I just wanted to make a comment before is I just remember how big of a machine and beast you were as a player back in 2008. I mean, I had my friends from Victoria locally there that I've known for a long time, 2008, and everyone else was new. I remember Michael Grabner, Corey Snyder,
Yeah.
all the Canuck prospects, and I feel like Patrick White was the draft pick that year that had gone to that camp. Um, yeah, lots of players from everywhere, Slovakia and a whole bunch of different places. But a little bit, just a little bit how in shape you were. You were a beast, and I heard so many crazy stories of how your diet, your nutrition was excellent, and
Yeah. Oh,
you were a
yeah.
big guy. You were a big guy that was obviously shredded and
Did you
in.
see his arms still popping out of his shirt or what?
But
Uh,
that's crazy because that's the stuff that kind of went undercover, right? Like
you were
people
early.
don't realize how much work you have to put behind the scene
Yeah.
before it actually like surface in front of. I still remember like I always target someone like because I was always trying to be the best at like conditioning
Yeah.
and getting like at camp the most in shape guy. But every year I had to face Rick Ripien there, who was like another machine. And I remember when we climbed that you call it the Gross Mountain. What is it?
Yeah. The Gross Mountain Gross Grind in Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how steep was that thing, and how long was it? Like I remember like seeing people coming down, and at some point I start yelling at people like, "Hey, how far is the top?" And I couldn't really mix any word in English at the time, so it was just like me like kind of struggling and asking like, "Hey, like is this thing gonna end?" Like it was, we couldn't even see the top, couldn't even see any lights. And then of course like the one guy that beats me was Rick Ripien. And I don't know, I always stayed in my mind like there's always someone better than you, and there's always someone that's gonna work even harder than you. And I don't know, my summers were focused on, like you said, nutrition, sleeping, and working out. And today I think it's still kind of have a little bit of a rebound to that. So I kind of appreciate the notice that you're bringing here.
That's right.
Hey, we're gonna have to talk about it with the kids tomorrow at the rink.
Yeah,
You see, he
right.
wasn't making that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember it. I've heard lots of things. Obviously, I don't know how many years you were at the Canucks camp already previous to that, because obviously being part of the organization, but you might have been 2 years or 3 years already at that camp. I was just going in for my first year, but people, you guys all knew each other from
Yeah.
previous years and all that. So I just remember hearing stories and obviously the little jokes that were coming around, but your way. One thing I do have to ask, and I was commenting on your Instagram post probably 2 months ago, a month ago, but I heard in Manitoba when you're in the AHL, were you running to practice?
I did like just a few times when the car wouldn't start, or because I was roommate with Luc Bourdon,
Yeah.
and his
Eh,
first call up, on his first call up, I didn't have a car, and Luke just bought that thing. Like that was his
wow.
baby, right? So he was like, "No, you're not touching my baby." Like he was 19, he was 20, and I was 21. He's like, "No, I'm not letting you drive my baby, and it's not moving from the garage." So some mornings I was like, "All right, I gotta get there," and I start running in the snow. And Winnipeg was not the hottest place on earth, you know that. But the
How
craziest
far was
story
that
is,
walk? How far was the run?
I'd say like it wasn't too bad, like just under 10 kilometer, probably. Like
Whoa!
the number
I think
one
it was
thing
like
is
10 minutes. 10 kilometers. Holy smokes.
one game I actually decide I'm gonna take the bus because I'm not walking. It's and that was the last time I took the bus in in Manitoba. I sat down there in my suit going to the game, and I had um, I had a starving person start crawling underneath my legs to grab like he reached a piece of bread, like it was underneath my seat, and he just grabbed it and started eating it. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna have to buy a car here. And that was the last time I used my my legs or the the bus to go to the ring. But yeah, no, that was the grind. That was the year that like rookie minimum salary was 37,000 a year, right? So like you just made it to pro lifestyles. Some guys like to go out and have fun, and if you want to follow that kind of lifestyle, you got to make some saving at some point.
Right.
That was it.
No, I'm super pumped I was able to ask you that because I had heard this a number of years ago and I was like, that's crazy in Winnipeg of running to the practice. Like that's a lot of work beforehand. Like he was in
Alex
shape,
Bolduc.
so it could have
Alex
happened.
Bolduc. Do you remember Bolduc?
I do remember that name. Yeah, he wasn't at the
he,
camp that we were at, but I do. He was a big Canuck prospect for.
oh yeah, he was good, and I like he started that I was biking to go to the rink, but I was doing that in Syracuse when I was biking. When I got sent down, I didn't have my car in Syracuse, and I was biking from the hotel to the ring. But I think GP Cote started that trend, and the year before in Norfolk, we had half the team going with the longboard to the rink, and it was kind of that magical year where like whatever we were doing, it was fine. It was flying like under the radar, and no one would say a word. Like even though we had some guys like going downhill the parking lot at our apartment in Norfolk. Oh my! Like some guys took some really big fell. Like couple guy got to practice the next day and they just buried himself in the board and pretend like, oh, my shoulder, I'm out next game. So but it was just a cover up. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we had some good time.
Awesome. Stefan, do you want to talk a little bit about what you would like to give back to the followers? Any piece of advice or little areas that you remember from your young days? I mean, even, 6 to 10 years old, of what hockey was like for you, whether you maybe agree with it or you want to change or just apply to them, and all the way up through your hockey.
Well, one of the things for sure, I know me and PC are really fresh out of the game, right? And we don't really have any ties into it as far as like having kids or anything like that are at the rink with us, that are around the age that we're coaching for the time being, at least. And I feel like every day when you get a chance to come to the rink, everything that's going on in your personal life or outside, it kind of vanishes the second that you open the doors and you get inside, and that's kind of the atmosphere that, I think both of us agree to bring every time we get to the arena, whether the day was going well or things, seemed great, the arena for me was always an escape. And I think that, the attitude that I try to bring in every day, and the fun or the energy or whatever it is, to try to nurture that environment for the kids too, where, they're coming in and they want to get better. And, they're not looking in the stands that, like, we haven't been in that position yet, but, they're not looking in the stands at their parents to see them tell them if they're working hard or not. They get a good joy to come to the arena every day and, tie on their work boots and, get out there and try to get better at a game that we all love. So, the number one thing for me is, I like to see kids come in every day and really enjoy being at the arena and, enjoying the process and enjoying the grind, So,
as our journey went along, obviously us being done now, but you just really learn how much that applies to outside of that rink. How we're dealing with our teammates, we'll say the brotherhood, or even lots of people do the sisterhood, we'll say, is you just learn so much from your peers. You obviously get the leadership aspect to it of leading the way, and there's lots of different things, whether you're hanging out, whether you're setting up events or dinners to go to, with whether it be a small group or the full team, obviously. There's so much obviously that you get out of sports, but as you keep playing hockey year after year, and I don't know the normal hockey career for a young kid, but I'd imagine probably 6 to 8 years maybe in their whole lives, maybe, that go through the minor hockey is probably average. And then those that go past U18 to junior to college, pros, and even after that senior hockey, it's it can be a long journey.
I mean, look, obviously the funnel gets smaller and smaller, right? But I mean, I think the biggest thing is to give all the kids like the building blocks of life, you know. And PC does a great job with it too, where we're holding kids accountable for the things they can control. And, you know, it's not necessarily the things that they can't, you know, like you're not asking, you're not judging the intelligence of a fish by how it climbs a tree, right? So some kids are scorers, some kids it's a work ethic thing, you know. And I feel like every day when we're holding kids accountable for the right things, you know, you see a constant improvement. And that's something that gives me a lot of gratification as a coach out there.